All right. So I've just noticed something because I just edited a podcast and a video now that I put these on YouTube earlier. So every time I hit the play and the record button, I always say, all right. And so I got this like conditional
Yeah.
launch point into the show. So
It's like
I've
the
got,
push play on your brain button.
yeah, that's
Go
exactly what it is.
time.
It's like my signature sauce. Although I think Matthew McConaughey has the all right, all right, all right. It's probably some
Uh,
truncated version of that.
yeah.
But this is exciting because once again, I have me a special person. And I don't say that. See, when you say special person, sometimes we're like, oh, no, like, I mean, genuinely special people here that once again, I met down on the boulevard doing my wonderful thing, selling some books down there. Oh my God, it's so much fun.
I
So
bet.
Marsha was out here for the Emotion Code event, and wonderful lady that I walked up to, just hanging out in front of the Bellagio fountains. And then, I entered it in my sales pitch. And of course, she decided to take the book home. But I just felt and saw something more. And what made this more magical was that you sent me a very nice response and testimony about your experience with the book, to which I said, all right, I got to get another awesome, awesome person like you on this podcast, on this YouTube, by the way. So it's awesome to have
Thank
you
you.
here.
Thank you so much. I
Yeah.
appreciate it. Thank
Yeah,
you.
of course.
Yeah.
So I want people to hear that from my own mouth that Marsha is a little bit nervous, and I said, "Don't you worry one bit about
Yeah.
that."
Yeah.
And by
Not
the
gonna
way,
lie.
it's all good. It's all good. See, I believe in sort of we live the whole principle of empowerment and pushing people beyond their boundaries. So let's start with this.
Okay.
What were you doing in Vegas for the Emotion Code at that time? Because that was what was also really intriguing to me, was that you're out here for something that I highly value: emotions and
Yeah.
understanding EQ, IQ, SEIQ, all those different things. So
Yeah.
what drew you to that whole development process, and then certainly coming out here to Vegas for it? I mean, that's pretty impressive. We'll start with
Well,
that.
I am a certified emotion code practitioner.
Hmm.
I just got certified a couple months ago, and once I got certified, I decided, well, what's next? There's another level that I'm need to take my exam for. I just got to take my exam and do my sessions, and then I'll be certified in that as well. But I wanted more. Like, what's next? What's after this? So that's when I looked up what events do they have going on. There was one in Vegas. Like, it was the only one that was listed, and I was like, why not? Why not do that? Why not go out there? Even though I was already certified in it, like there's nothing better than meeting the creators of it all, right? Like talking to the people and getting the other people that you're surrounded by, their experiences and their thoughts on it and that energy of it all. So yeah, that's when I booked the flights and dragged my friend out there. It wasn't hard to get her out there, but made her go with me. So
Who, by the way, she's awesome. I remember meeting her.
she's fantastic. She says hi. She's fantastic. Yeah.
Remind me of her name one more time. That's the one part.
Rachel.
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 Yeah, she
Yeah.
had that big, funny, humorous personality
Yeah.
next to you. She
Yeah.
let me do my thing and communicate with you without interrupting. That was so awesome.
Yeah.
By the way, everybody out there, if you got a friend out there and you're sort of tagging along, and if your friend, now within boundaries, right? I get if your friend is married or if they have a boyfriend, and this is just a different case, by the way. What I find, and I'm digressing, but I think this is very important, because when I experience this, I'm like, let that person have their moment. If they're engaged and they're interested in having a conversation, if it's something that's going on that doesn't relate to you, just give them that peace, right? But most people in Vegas, I always see them trying to drag them out of it. It's like, oh, don't
Yeah.
talk to the stranger. Let me pull you
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
Oh, don't talk
Yeah.
to the guy. Let me pull you away. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, that's not living very well. So anyway,
Right.
Rachel's
Right.
awesome.
She's fantastic.
The thing that I wanted to sort of shout out right there was what you said about wanted more. Marsha, have you always been a woman that wanted more out of life, or was this more of a sort of an evolution for you in terms of sort of the progress and journey of your life? So what would you define as more, and is more and more of a recent thing in terms of sort of what you're tracking in development, or is that sort of inbred? I'm curious to know some more about sort of where you come from and all that cool stuff.
Oh, good question. So we all have our childhood experiences, and mine were not the greatest. And I just knew there was something more to life. God did not bring me on this earth to just go through that stuff and then exit. There was more to it. I needed to figure out why. So eventually, it took years to get there, but eventually I figured out my why is to help people. So I became a massage therapist, absolutely love what I do. And I'm able to help. I mean, I have a steady clientele base. I don't take on new clients because I'm busy. It's just me. But there's more to it that I think I'm able to help people. I'm a very spiritual person. And I love to dive into the inner world and the emotions and, the universe and all that stuff. And there's so much more out there that we even realize, and I want to tap into all of it. So that's what took me out to the emotion code. I actually just finished, I graduated in May. I went back to school. I graduated in May, and I have a minor in psychology. So the whole mind thing, like always growing with that and always trying to find, why that person does that thing. Like, I want to get to know you, like, so I can be a better person towards you and to understand like what you've been through and why you've chosen these options of life that you've done. And then to learn from that. So it's kind of this, at first it was just, I knew there was more to life than what I had been given in my childhood. And then now it's just like, I just want to know it all. I just want to meet people and help them and learn from them and, broaden my perspective of things. And I guess that's kind of where it's heading in this direction now.
Yeah. I think it's incredible and well put. So said a couple of great things there that, I obviously got to put my best listeners' ears on. You mentioned the childhood thing. I'm obviously, I like drawing attention to that because I think that even, as you read the book, you understood how mine was affected. So when you say that, are you talking more like you had some trauma back in those days, sort of, on your own process? Or were you referring to it in like a way where it's like, we just didn't have a lot of money, but we had a good family and there's lots of love? Because there's different variations of that, right? Our childhoods are all widely different. So with you, when you reference your childhood, I'm wondering in what context you're referencing it, and if it's. And I told you I was going to ask you some deep questions too. So let's go there. I want to, because that's really where people kind of find the alignment with other people and where they find themselves connected. So if you don't mind sharing some of that, that would be awesome.
Yeah. So I come from a family of 6 kids, Army. So we were all over the place for a while. Finally, when we did get settled, it just wasn't good. Like, we did not have money. There was 6 of us. So there was always a shortage of food and, whatever. But it was very abusive. My stepdad was extremely abusive. I ended up actually running away in 9th grade, just because of all of that. And it's just trauma after trauma. There was, mental abuse and emotional abuse and physical abuse and sexual abuse and just all of it. And not, hands down to my mother. She did the best she could with what she had. I will always love her for that. But, it just wasn't good. She was stuck in a situation that she truly didn't have the strength to get us out of. And I mean, it just is what it is, but there's more to life than that. Like, I just knew in my heart that there was more than the struggle that I had been put through. So all the traumas, the traumas. So,
well, I got to give you a lot of courage and strength through this vessel right now, and just putting it on you for even mentioning that. I know that's not easy. And I'm curious sort of how you got out of it, and did your mom ever say, hey, I'm tired of this? Like, so what was sort of the pathway out for you or your family with him? Did he end up, disappearing? Did that dissipate? So I think the solution.
Yeah, I ran away. So my older brother and I ran away. Like, we are, my older brother have a different dad. My older brother and I have a different dad than the younger 4. So we kind of took the brunt of things, which, I would rather us take it than the younger 4. But it just got to a point where we couldn't handle it anymore. Like, it was bad. So we ran away. During that time, my mom did end up leaving him. So, but then, she went back to my real dad, which was a whole nother traumatic event, and just all the weird stuff that it just turned out real bad. It turned out really, really bad. So I cut connections with my real dad after all the traumas, and I cut connections with my stepdad years later with my stepdad, many more years later with my stepdad, just because he was my siblings' father and I was close to them and wanted to be in his life. And then, other situations happened, and it's just toxic. They're just toxic relationships. And I don't need those in my world. I worked really, really hard to get my mental state in a good spot. And I was not going to allow somebody else to take it down when I had control over it. So didn't want to do it.
Fantastic. So know, what's so great about what you're saying is that you actually now have the voice to be able to, young women, young men, and understand, because you were in those shoes, how to communicate and have a level of empathy that is indescribable, because that's rare. I mean, we all have our traumas. I didn't even have that. I mean, I had some other stuff, but I didn't have that. So I can imagine the scarring that comes along with that. Now, how do you, as wise as you are and as developed as you've become, and by the way, I got to give you, I have the chills right now again. I just think this is fantastic. I have a lot of hair in my arm, but you can probably see it standing up. For those of you that are listening to the podcast, awesome. But if not, go to YouTube. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can watch us right here, because we got some live stuff going on right here.
Oh, okay.
In real time. Yeah. But why I got the chills was because I was just going to tell you, to have that level of boldness to run away. I mean, it's almost like that is essentially hey, I'm fed up with this. I'm too important. My well-being is too important, which it is. And you said, I'm out, you and your brother, which is almost like that was your entry point to the real world, to which the world rewarded you for your courage. And so I think that's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
So that being said, now you are a wonderful mother, you have 2 kids. How do you look back and sort of process everything that happened to that? Did you have adult memory banks that would always replay those scripts? Did you have issues in some of your relationships that you realized that you had to overcome? How did you live in the real world with knowing that was your past, and then understand it, and then decide, hey, I'm going to keep working on myself and making yourself a better person?
Oh man, it was years before I understood the impact of what my childhood did to me. Years. And I mean, like 5-6 years ago is when I really started to understand that there was how much my brain had been wired into all that chaos and trauma. And so I lived many years of my life in that same trauma. You were attracted to those men. Like, I didn't have a good male figure in my life, so I was attracted to those men that were awful to me, right? Like, that's what I knew, like people that beat me and people that were terrible to me, and alcoholics. Like, my stepdad was an alcoholic. So you didn't realize how I was drawn to those, because that's all I knew. It was comfortable to me. So to find somebody, to have somebody that would treat me well, I have somebody now that's amazing and treating me super well. It's weird. It's just, I mean, it's just like, okay, you got to sit back and think about, like, this is normal. Like, it's okay. Like, he messaged me before this, like, you're going to do great. Like, it's awesome. Like,
so good.
It's like,
who's this guy? Wait, what?
Like, thank you. Like, for one, thank you for thinking of me. And 2, like, thank you for encouraging me. But years later, did I finally realize, actually, ironic, I was in a relationship, and I had been seeing a therapist. Like, I realized, I've been divorced twice. I've been married twice. I've been divorced twice. After the second divorce, I was like, during the second divorce, when, there was so much stuff happening, I need to figure stuff out. Like, I need something new in my life, because what I'm doing it's not working for me. So I went to a therapist, and she was fantastic, but she got me so far. And I'm one that I'm not going to give up. Like, I'm just a doer. Like, I know I deserve more, and I know there's more out there for me, and I need somebody that's going to get me there. So she got me so far. It was fantastic. I started dating this guy, and he was seeing this therapist. specializes in trauma. She's amazing. And between him and her, like him and I are no longer together. Truth be told, he's an asshole. Like he'll always have a big, huge spot in my heart just because he pushed me to do the work, like not in a very nice way, but he did it. Like he's seen the potential in me and he pushed me to do that. And then she helped me to get there.
Incredible.
But I mean, 2 years into that relationship, I realized like this isn't doing the same thing, like the same thing with somebody that knows what he should be doing, like, but he doesn't do the things he's supposed to be doing. He's very good at talking about it, but he doesn't do it. So there again, like, but it was years before I realized, okay, like this train of thought that I've lived my whole entire life is not healthy. It's not healthy at all. I never had a good, healthy relationship to go off of. I didn't have healthy, I didn't see healthy people in marriages. I didn't. Like, I just seen constant struggle. Like, it's kind of like that energy. Like you have this, you wake up in the morning, you feel like you're going to have a bad day. Well, you will have a bad day. So you're stuck in this, welfare driven home that has no desire to get out of that. And you're going to attract that. And that's what we did. We attracted those things. So there was no way for me we didn't see that healthy stuff. So it was all new to me. It was just, all of this was new and super duper hard, but totally worth it. I mean, well worth it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I can tell. And again, you're helping all of us. I'm learning as I'm listening to you right now, and I'm thinking to myself, wow, I got some work to do in this department. I can do a little bit better here too, right? So
oh gosh, we all can.
Yeah.
All of us, for sure.
All the time. It's never ending.
No.
So how did you recognize that there was the work to be done? I mean, and I know you were sort of separating yourself from the pack, but you mentioned that had the work to do. Was there sort of it's like this underpinned need or voice inside of you, or something that was like, I got to do this? Or were you frustrated or in pain with the way that things were turning out? Like, what was it? Because I know that for me, like I said in the book, it's like everything was loss. Everything was loss. And at some point you're like, damn, I'm tired of losing. Okay.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah.
So for you, how did that look? Were you, and maybe give us like some frame of like, because you ran away, and I didn't even know how old you were. Do you mind how old you were when you and your brother took off?
I was in ninth grade. I was in ninth.
Freshman in high school. Okay, cool. Yeah. So then did you finish high school? Did you go to college? Did you start integrating into the real world working? Like, what was that path like from there? It's a loaded question. I give loaded questions, so don't worry. You don't have to answer it all at once, because I do kind of like pour it on top, and I'm like,
Manny, there's a lot there.
6 questions.
So ninth grade, I moved away. So with being in the military, you kind of moved all over the place. Like we were in Germany. 2 of my siblings are born in Germany. I was born in Oklahoma. Like we were just all over the place. So when we finally settled, I think it was 1st or 2nd grade. Mind you, my memory is terrible. I don't remember a whole lot of my childhood, but I think it was 1st or 2nd grade. I feel like it was 1st grade that we finally moved, and I settled in one school district instead of, having this place and this place and this place. And so I settled in that school district. I was there, I think, from 1st grade until 8th grade. 8th grade, I moved away because my real dad got a place somewhere else. And I thought, oh, I'm going to get away from this chaos here. And then, I moved away from my mom and my siblings, like 2 hours away. And I was like, I just moved from one chaos to another. Like, that's not what I want to do at all. So I moved back to the same school district in the 9th grade. I just decided I couldn't take it anymore. So my brother and I moved away, probably about an hour away. But then that's when my mom got the strength to leave. So she left. So we left again in 9th grade to move back with her and my real dad. So I was in 3 different high schools in 9th grade, and like, I'm not doing that again. I'm not going to do that again. So, so much dysfunction in my world, but I'm willing to admit it all because everybody goes through it, and hopefully it can help somebody else. But at the age of 15, I started dating a 22-year-old. So at that point, like, I was already working for my friend's dad. They had a newspaper place. So I would go on Saturday, all day Saturday, I'd be stuffing papers, like all day stuffing papers, because I had to pay for my own stuff. Like,
Hmm.
If I wanted shampoo and conditioner, I had to go pay for it myself. If I wanted clothes, I had to go get it myself. So I had to do this stuff. So I got that job, and then I decided I needed more. So I went and worked at the pizza place while I was still going to school. And then my boyfriend and I moved out together. And then of course you're on your own from there. So, I mean, you've got to do all these things yourself. So from a very young age, I had to be self-sufficient. And even before then, because my stepdad was an alcoholic and couldn't really keep a job as often as he should have. My mom had to work 3 jobs. So I was the oldest girl, so I had to get everybody up for school in the morning. I had to get them off to school, get them home, get them homework done, like make dinner. Like I was their second mom. They used to call me mom when I was little. So being self-sufficient was just what I did, but now it's a whole new level. I've got to make my money, and I've got to buy my things, and I got to do whatever I got to do. So then I'm in this relationship for 4 years, and I've already lost track of what your questions were. So I'm just going to keep going.
Don't worry, just keep going. No, keep going.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You're doing great. Absolutely.
So it was just that, like, put myself in a terrible situation. He was an alcoholic. So, put myself in that situation and get out of that situation, and go right to the same thing. Like I find a new relationship. Well, then he was, addicted to drugs, and, just that level of, I didn't know any better. Like that was what I was comfortable with. Like the chaos of things was normal to me. So why not? And because innately my entire life, I've always wanted to help people. Like that's just who I am. In the soul of my souls, that's who I am. I just want to help people. So, I can help them. I can make them better. I can do this. And it never works out. Like that isn't at all how that works. So
Right.
just caught in the same trap. And eventually, I met my son's father, and same sort of scenario. Like we partied, we were party buddies, and that's what we did. And we got married really fast, and within 1 year, I had graduated from personal training school, moved back home. I lived in Florida for that, came back home. We got a dog, we bought a house, we got married. I opened a business, and I had a baby within a year.
Wow,
I mean,
impressive.
that's a lot of changes, and I can't party anymore. Like that's sorry. And that's where he was at. Like he was stuck there, and he wasn't willing to see that things needed to change. So obviously that didn't work out real well. But then I go right to another relationship right after that, where, there was trauma within his past that he wasn't willing to deal with. And it caused, he ended up having $30,000 in credit card debt after we got married that I didn't know about, and ended up cheating on me, and like just all this stuff. Like, why does this stuff keep happening to me? And it wasn't until the second therapist that I started, she made me look in the mirror. Like, it's not them. It's not them. That's who they are. You can't change who they are. It's you. Like, you've got to change the way you see things and the way that your brain processes things, and it's got to be your change, not them. You're never going to change them. They need to want to change, not you want them to change. So that was kind of the pivotal point when she kept holding up that damn mirror, and I'm like,
I don't want to look.
It's not me. It's not me. Well, it was. So yeah. It was a whole lot there, and I thought I hope that got all your stuff.
Yeah, you covered. I usually have a good idea about what question may have been missed, but no, I think you covered most of it. Somebody might send me a message or call me out later for it, but I don't remember it. But because I hear so many other great things that I can add on to that, I think what's naturally in my mind where I'm going with this next question is something that I see it. I was sort of playing around with it in my head, and then you went there. So with all your transformation and the fact that you said 2 kids, 1 boy, 1 girl, or 2 boys?
1 boy, 1 girl. Yeah.
1 boy, 1 girl. Okay. So here's the big how question. How have you done the co-parenting thing? Because I know people out there that have kids and families with different parents and this and that. So how have you been able to do that effectively and make it a loving environment without making it dysfunctional, using all of your experience and real world, in the trenches with that to make sure that your boy and your girl, are they with the same father? Can you mind me asking?
No. So
Okay.
my son is mine, and my daughter's adopted. She's actually my niece.
Okay.
Her mom is my sister. So I've had her for almost 6 years. She just turned 7 last week. So I've had
Incredible.
her for almost 6 years. So I don't have co-parenting with them because we don't have a relationship with my sister. Like she does not have a relationship with her parents. It's
Wow.
terrible. She's my
Sure.
sister, but they're very toxic. It's just not a good environment. So that's easy,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
but on the other aspect, it's not easy for her because she knows her situation. Like she
Mm,
knows she has a biological mom and dad. So that's kind of challenging for her. But as far as co-parenting goes, like that's easy.
wow.
But my son, it's a challenge. It's a challenge. His father is extremely controlling and it just makes it very challenging. But I mean, I never say anything bad about his father in front of him. It's his dad. Like he loves his dad to pieces. I'm not wanting to take anything from that, but
Right.
he does need reassurances when he comes home because it's a completely different environment than what we have here. We talk all the time. Like I am all about, I didn't talk when I was a kid. Like I didn't know how to express my feelings. I didn't know how to do that. And it was unacceptable to do it. Like there were
Mm,
punishments when you said certain things. Like kids were meant to be seen and not heard. Like
mm,
you just do what you need to do and get out of the way. So
right.
I don't want my kids to be like that. So his dad and I have differences of opinions with parenting, co-parenting. But I do what I do because I know how it feels to not be heard. I know that. So I want my kids to know that it's okay. These feelings are hard. Like life is hard. I know you're 12. I know you're 12, which is a super hard time right now. But I mean, it's okay to have these feelings. I know you're a boy, but if you need to cry, you can cry and you can tell me why. Like if you need to wait till later, it's totally fine. But they both know that my childhood was not, they don't know specifics. They don't need to know that stuff, but they know that I didn't have that support when I was younger and they didn't know these things. And had I had known all of this stuff at a young age, I wouldn't have gone through all the hardships I have
Right.
or as bad. Like life's hard. You're always going to go through hardships, but it wouldn't be as bad. Like I want them to know how to feel their feelings and know what to do with them. So I'm huge about all of that. My kids are so sick of me talking.
Yeah.
So sick of me talking.
You
But
know, when we grow up, when kids grow up and we look back and we realize once we grow past the like teeny phase and the early 20s phase, mid 20s, then you're like, wow, mom and dad were awesome. Oh, they really
yeah,
love me. Man,
yeah,
all right, let me make sure I show them love now. But if you
yeah,
just keep planting those seeds like you're doing,
yeah.
I'm sure there's just going to be tons, and I'm sure there already is, but there, in the future will be tons of reciprocation. You just get to that point eventually where you understand it. So I think that's
Yeah,
great. And what's great is that you had to go through that to be able to, be the strength there. What you said, a challenging world out there. Life kicks your
yeah,
butt, right? And even for kids
yeah.
nowadays, I mean, you know,
Oh
that's
man, so tough.
yeah.
My heart just aches for these kids these days. It just aches. Oh man.
Yeah,
Oh
I can
yeah,
only imagine. I can only imagine. I mean,
yeah.
with all the different, there's just so much different input coming from different directions, and then it's so easy. I see parents treating their kids bad sometimes, yelling at them, doing this, and I'm thinking to myself, man, that's how you parents? Like, what's missing?
Yeah.
My lady came home the other day from her work, and she works with kids with autism, and she was telling me
Oh,
the story about a family who she went to work with for the first time. It was heartbreaking to hear how this mother treated her autistic son. And I was
oh,
like, wow, that's what's really going on. And when you're there, like you're
yeah,
actually there, I
yeah,
can't imagine what it's like when you're not there.
yeah,
So
yeah,
this is good. This is really good, I think, and just overall. So us, keep continuing the message. So
yeah. Gosh.
tell me at what point you transitioned to wanting to do massage therapy, because going out there and choosing to be your own independent business owner and build a clientele, you have to, you see something in it, or you were called to it, or it was by accident. I mean, it could be any one of those, or
Yeah,
that's why you're
yeah,
here. You're here to tell me the
yeah,
story.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So like I said earlier, I've always had this innate feeling to want to help people. Like it feels good to make people feel good. So, after high school, I start going to college a little bit and but I'm working and paying for college, and something has to give. And obviously I've got to live. So I quit college and just work to live is what I was doing. So I'm at this job I'm so appreciative of that job, but it wasn't for me. Like, it was in cars. I just sat all day in front of a computer, and there's something more. Like, I need to grow up. I need to figure out what I want to do with the rest of my life. So I thought I wanted to be a nurse, but I'm just not that strong of a person. I would bring all that energy home with me. I know it would take me down, like, hands down to all those men and women out there. It's incredible what they do, but I can't
Right.
do it. So one of the kids that I was working with, I say kids, he's only a couple of years younger than me, but his wife's mother, so his mother-in-law was going to massage school. And I was like, I wonder. So I talked to her and I went and visited this school and I signed up right away. I was like, this is what I need to do. So jumped all in, did that program. A month later, I moved to Florida and did a program for personal training. And then I moved home and was gung ho, like, here we go. So I was working for a place probably a half an hour from where I lived. And it was, I always say I learned best by what not to do. Like, go through those experiences. Like, I know I don't want to do that. I know I don't want to do that. So I was working for a lady that there were so many. We're massage and we're personal training. Like, she did the same thing. She had one shop for massage and then she held classes at another location, like a block down the road, and so many red flags. Like, I did not want to be associated with that just because there were so many things. So in my town that I was living, or am still living, I'm not from this town. Like, I moved here because of my husband at the time. People knew me. I'm a very social person. I like to talk to people. So getting to know me a little bit more and what I do. And I was like, I would love to have my own place. I just would love to have my own place. So I actually had somebody approach me. He was building a wellness center. And he asked me if I would want to teach classes and do my massage. And I was like, this is it. Like, I got to do it. Like, if I don't take this now, I don't know when it's ever going to happen again. So jumped in. I was like, okay. So at 5 months pregnant, I opened my own business in a town that I was not from. So there were definitely challenges, like massage therapy, opening it in, when did I open it? 2009. So things were starting to just come back, like the economy, and I'm not from the town. Nobody wants to spend money on luxury stuff. Like, I'm 5 months pregnant, carrying around this like basketball in front of me. Like, who's going to come to me?
Right.
But I was like, why not? Like, I got to give it a shot. So I said 2 years. I told myself 2 years. If you can't make it after 2 years, you can at least say you tried. And at 2 years, I was moving to a bigger location.
Wow.
So it just built. And now I have 80 plus clients, and I can't take any more clients on. I just can't. I don't have the room for them. So I was teaching classes and I was doing massage, and, it just kind of went from there. So, and I love it. I absolutely love it. Me help, like, people walking in and seeing their state, like, people, for one, who doesn't love to go to their massage therapist? So I love that.
Massage is amazing.
Yeah. People want to come and see me.
That's right.
And then you just know, like, I built such a relationship with each person that it's more than just coming in and rubbing their body. It's like, it's their release on so many levels. So seeing them come in, and because I know them so well now, it's been 13 years in February to be 13 years. Like, I know them so well now, I can see, like, okay, what's going on. So we sit and have a conversation, and, it's just amazing. I just love what I do. I'm super passionate about it, and I love everything about it. So
yeah. So fantastic. I hear a bunch of great directions we can go again. And first one I want to go into is, what are some of so I guess you could say, approaches that you had to use in terms of woman's strength while pregnant and starting a business to continue to move forward in that? Look, I get it. When a woman gets pregnant, she's probably, feeling a certain way, and, emotions are all over the place. And then starting a business, that's no easy thing. So for you, what was the recipe that you used to keep going, to say, yep, 2 years, get up every day, put 2 feet on the floor, the evidence is in what you've done. So it's clear that you figured something out. What do you know looking back at it now, that can help somebody else out there that's listening to this?
Well, my drive for it all is my kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's my kids. I knew from a very young age I wanted to be a mom. So all of a sudden I'm pregnant. And for one, I have this opportunity. Somebody approached me and is giving me this amazing jump start on things. But now I have to make this work. I have a kid on the way. Like, and I was married. I had a husband, but financially, there was no help there. So I was on my own, like, okay, I got to do this. Like, he deserves this child that's not even born yet deserves more than what I'm able to give him right now at this moment. So how do I make this work? So I was beating the street. I would print off, like, nothing fancy, just print off on paper, coupons, like, oh, I'm just opening up, like, here's a discount for this massage. And, if you buy 2 or 3, I'll give you 1 for free, like anything and everything to get these in. And if you referred so many people, like that other person got a free massage, like all the tactics to try to get as many people in as I could. And I mean, it worked, but it was hard. It was super duper hard. And the people that I did know, like, let me give you a massage so you can tell people about it. Like, let me do that. And then, if you liked it, tell everybody about it. So that's kind of where I went for that. But it was my kids, like, and still to this day, it's always my kids. Like, that's why I went back to school. So I've been doing this for almost 13 years now. My specialty is deep tissue. So at some point, my body's going to start telling me I have to slow down. I have to. So I went back to school to be able to teach this. Like, when my body gets to that point, like, then I can go and teach it. And I have a minor in psychology. So there's, there's another avenue there, but I didn't have any degrees. I had nothing. I just had 2 certifications that it doesn't mean anything. I mean, if I want to go and get a decent job and be able to support my kids like I do now, I can't do that at Speedway. I don't have any certifications, no degrees. So I don't want to work at McDonald's. I'm not above McDonald's, but I don't want to work at McDonald's. Right now, I get to plan my own schedule. I control everything. Like, if I want to take a day off, I take a day off. Granted, I got to plan it way out in advance because I have clients, but if I need to switch something, I can switch it. If my kids are sick, well, I just don't work that day. I call my clients and say, I'm not going to work. Like, everything revolves around them. Absolutely everything. And the drive to, like, this new emotion code stuff that I'm doing, like, it's going to help them. Like, I'm so excited to be able to dive more into all that stuff, to be able to help them more. So everything is surrounded by my kids, everything.
So there's a motherly instinct in there, obviously. And I think what I'm connecting dots on is that you are doing it the complete opposite of how it was done while you were growing up. You want to be that person that just over provides, which is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
If there's women out there, and even some men too, I mean, men probably struggle with some of the same things that aren't necessarily moved. And I'm sure you probably ran across them, maybe even in the massage room, where they don't have kids yet and they don't have that real reason to drive their life around kids that they don't have yet. Have you seen other women, men included, that you think that you could help them find some drive some way, somehow, maybe non-instinctually, as far as what you've heard from people? Like, because you got a lot of life experience, which is, I think, very, 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 very useful. So it's like, if not a mother or father, what have you seen work for maybe some other, I would say, areas of life, or, certainly something that moves people like you were moved on the basis of taking care of your kids?
Well, because I'm so much in the health and fitness field, right? That has helped a lot of people too. I don't teach my classes anymore. I taught my kickboxing classes for like 10 years, but I quit when I went back to school. But, along that journey, I owned a gym with a friend of mine, and we did boot camp classes. We did all these things, and to be able to see the drive, like, these people come in, of course they come in and they want to do this class. Well, all of a sudden they realize how hard it is because they've been out of shape for so long, or didn't realize that, they've lived this life for so long that now they can't do what they used to be able to do. And all of a sudden they're very humbled by it all. Like, well, now what do I do? But then you push them just that tiny bit. Like, you get them to realize, like, you don't have to go, you're not going to run a marathon tomorrow. Like, you just need to slow your roll and accept that it took years to get this way. It's going to take a while to get back to where you want to be. And you won't ever be like you were when you were younger, because you're not young anymore. But just to get them to see that you work for a little bit and look at what you gain. Like they gained something. They didn't go backwards. They gained something. And just the joy that they find, like, it's just incredible. I'll never forget this one experience. I was teaching a class and he was a gentleman, Bill. I'll never forget it. And he was just struggling so hard. And we were like eye to eye. I was like, you're not doing it. You're not giving up. You're going to do it. Like, I'm a pretty ruthless trainer, but, and he just stared at me. It was just this constant stare, and he did it. Like, he pushed through all those barriers and he didn't stop. Like, it just kept going from there. So it was amazing. And we're both in tears afterwards because he did it. Like, it just gave me chills. Like, it was just amazing. Such an amazing experience. But just letting them see, like, a lot of people forget that they can do it themselves. Like, they just expect outside forces to fall into place and just happen for them. And the main thing is just letting people know how strong they are. Like, it's in you. You can do it. I promise you. Like, what do I have to do to get you there to see that you're fully capable of all of this? So, and a lot of times it's just pushing those buttons on them to make them realize it. So
that's a very well put, by the way. And I think your answer is right out of the gate was health and fitness. It's like, it's so true. Why not borrow what that feeling is that is brought to you in that process to then transfer it to the other areas of your life that maybe, sort of, a little bit lackluster to some extent, but you're right. Cause it's like, once you get that pump in, that workout, it's like, wow, now I'm ready to do something else. I'm ready to go for it again. By the way, see, this is what's so cool about this. Like, you just said in there, you're like, I used to own a gym with my friend. I'm like, damn, what else didn't I know? It's like, because you were talking about some of the grassroots stuff and, putting flyers out and going to people. I'm like, damn, man, she's a marketer. Like, it's, hey, let me give you a little trial close, which means like test it out. That's like the puppy dog thing. Huh? Go play with the puppy. And then you want to take the puppy home, and that's what hey, I'll give you a massage. Let me let you feel it, and then go tell your friends. And so you were actually practicing things in building your business. Where the heck did that come from? Like, so this is the fascinating part where I'm like, okay, just like, hey, did you pick the book up? Did you just start doing that innately? And it's like,
no, I just want to make people feel good. Like, I've obviously read tons of books since, but at that point I just want to make people feel good. Like, I know people will feel good if they come to me. How do I get them? Well, I'll make that person feel good. And then they'll tell that person, and then that person will tell that person. And it's just like, my business organically grew that way. Like, I haven't spent $1 on marketing besides printing off all those coupons.
Yeah.
That's how I spend my money. For one, I didn't have money. Like, I started my business with nothing, absolutely nothing. So, just kind of, that's how I did it. So,
a phenomenal lesson.
Then when I didn't start my kickboxing classes, I had taught them up, in the place that I worked prior to opening my business. But I mean, I was 5 months pregnant. Who's going to come to a kickboxing instructor that's 5 months pregnant? So I waited till after he was born. Like, I waited 3 months after he was born before I started again. But same thing. Like, I mean, my first few classes many classes were like 2, 3, 4 people, and they told people and they told people. And when I owned my gym, I had 40 plus people in my classes. So multiple times a week. And I get all the time still. It's been 2.5 years since I've taught my classes, and I still get people like, when are you doing classes? When are you going to teach again? So can't take my son to the dentist without the hygienist harassing me about it.
Oh, that's awesome. By the way, see, I think there's such a beautiful lesson in that, and that is that some way, somehow, you knew how to get people to come to you. You were an attractor, and then you essentially gave them something that, as you said, made them feel good. And man, if that's not one of the most powerful lessons in terms of total of life, I think that you're really barking up the right tree right there. Because if anybody's listening to this right now, making people feel good, it almost doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, I know.
Right?
I know.
It's like, it's like, even if, when we're talking, it's not about what I have to say, it's about what you have to say. So giving somebody that space to open up and talk, through that, they make themselves feel good. But I just think that it's so wonderfully done how you said it, that you just wanted to have people feel good. And you knew that if they would feel good, then somebody else would come to you. And now you're talking about your boxing classes being filled up. I'm like, man, that's special. Like you have that uniqueness to you. So great job on that. That's just phenomenal. I mean,
Thank you.
super cool.
Thank you.
Super cool. That's a lesson for life and business for anybody that's listening right now. So
Yeah.
I want to sort of circle back to something real quick, because it came
Okay.
to me like a speeding bullet train. I have these impulse thoughts and they shoot through my mind and I'm like, oh, I got to get that one, because I realize that there are the numbers in the divorce category are okay. I mean, whatever, you qualify as okay. I think last time I heard, this is not verified, but I heard it was somewhere around 50%. For someone like you that has gone through it, but became stronger and really bounced back, wiser, more experienced, and just ready to conquer the world, what advice would you have for someone, man or woman, that may have to go through that, or is struggling there to sort of get themselves back on the horse again and live some life and continue to march forward? Because that ain't easy, right? You
No.
commit, make the vows, and you're like, yep, and then all of a sudden you've done it twice, which is why you're even more awesome. It's like, whoa. So to also not only just live life, but then to get back up to go date again, like want to go out and meet somebody.
Yeah,
So,
that's tough. That's super tough. But I always fall back on, you've got to love yourself first. Like you just have to love yourself first. If you don't love yourself in the way that you should, you're not going to get anywhere. You're not going to get anywhere. You might go out and try to date, but you're going to attract the wrong people. But you have to love yourself. If you're in that situation when you're in a bad spot, like it's hard. Like I put myself on depression medication because I thought that was the answer. Like if I just cover it up and just ignore it and pretend it's not there, I just need to get to this other side and I'll just do that. But it doesn't do anything. Like it just numbs you and makes you like incoherent to what's really going on. Like you just have to love yourself to know, like if you're in that spot, especially if you have children, like just love yourself to know that there's more to life. There is more to life. If you're in a mental abusive relationship, emotional, physical, sexual, whatever the case is, like there is more to life. And you've got to love yourself enough to know it's okay to leave. It's okay to know that there's something on the other side if you continue to better yourself. Like just don't leave and then do the same thing like I did. Like that's what we do until we finally learn our lesson. But it's hard. It's super hard. But loving yourself is like the key to it all. Give yourself the strength to do what you need to do. You know innately what's inside. You know what you need to do, but it's hard sometimes. But love yourself.
And from your lens, so Marsha's lens, loving yourself in hindsight includes taking the time to what? Read a good book. Like what is a good formula that you would say to help someone love that? And I know that there are different ways of saying it. But I'm curious because your perspective is your perspective, and that's what's beautiful about it, is that you have that. So I'm curious what your perspective is.
Well, it's interesting. After my second divorce, I took a year off. Like, I can't do this. Like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I don't know what to do here. I don't want to do it. I just don't want to do it. So eventually when I started dating, so profound. This one guy had asked me, so what do you like to do? What do you like to do for fun? I'm like, oh, I like to play with my kids and I like to do kickboxing and, all these things. He's like, yeah. Those are things that you do. Like you are a mom and you do these things, but what do you like to do? Like, what does Marsha like to do? And I was like, well, I don't know. Like, I didn't know myself. I didn't know who I was. Like I was a mom and I was a business owner and I was a daughter and I was a sister and I was all these things, but it wasn't me. Like, I don't know who I am. So that was huge. Like, what do I like to do? It was a struggle. It was very, very humbling to realize how hard it was to find myself. Like I did not know. I did not know who I was. I did not know what I liked. I did not know what I wanted in a person. I just was so attracted to the normalcy of what happened in my world. Like, so I just was attracted to that. I didn't know, did not know. So that was my big thing, finding myself.
Finding yourself. Wow.
Yeah. And being able to distinguish that I'm not just Dre's mom. I'm not just Emery's mom. I'm not that kickboxing girl. I'm not the massage gal. I am all those things, but I'm Marsha. Like overall, I am Marsha, and I need to give credit to myself, and I need to love myself enough to know that I don't want to do that. That is not something I enjoy, or, you know, this is what I want out of life because I know who I am now. And so that was huge for me. Huge.
So what did that reveal to you? So
a whole lot of
who
scariness.
is Marsha? Yeah. Yeah.
Marsha is spunky, and Marsha is quirky, and Marsha is such a people person, and Marsha loves to help people, and Marsha just likes to enjoy herself. She doesn't need to go and do all these crazy adventure things. Those are fun, but I just truly enjoy connection. I enjoy being with people. I enjoy that, but I also need my own time. I need to process myself. I need to sit back and ground myself and be just alone for a while. But I don't know. I'm just quirky. Oh.
I'm just thinking about the text exchange that we had and sort of the first little, you could say, point of friction where you were almost trying to get out of this. And I was like, no. And I'm just so happy that you're doing this right now, because you're so over delivering right now, for at least how I see it. I think it's incredible. Like, I'm so thankful that you're doing this. Like, it is so fantastic. Yeah. You just, you're there's not necessarily a checklist of boxes to hit, in a conversation, but you're just covering so many things, whether that's bravery, whether that's vulnerability, whether that's taking ownership, whether that's all these different things from, a female's perspective, whether that's overcoming the challenge of, multiple marriages, and really just bringing it to the surface without any hoops or hurdles around it. It's like, you're just like, let's go. Here it is. Here's what I've got. Here's what I've done.
Yeah. Well, because I've worked so hard through it all. Like, I never would have talked about this stuff before. Like, it's embarrassing. Like, a lot of my past is embarrassing, and I'm very shameful of a lot of my past. But I know we had the conversation about Brene Brown. Like, I mean, to live in my true self, I have to bring that stuff to the surface. It's not who I am. It's what I went through. It's what I went through. And I wouldn't, as awful as all of it was, I wouldn't change it for a minute, because it's made me who I am. But I am here to help people. And if my story can help people, then why would I not share it? Like, maybe some people don't like it, or maybe these people I'm talking about on here are going to be super mad. But I mean, sometimes the truth hurts, right? Like, it's just, but also, like, it's my truth. Maybe it's not their truth, but it's my truth. But it's hard stuff to swallow and then regurgitate to other people. But that's life, right? Life is not easy. So
what if they're super proud?
Right. What
if?
Ah, man.
Underneath it, the truth is, they're like, wow, she really is what we hoped. And maybe they don't show it that way, but that could be the truth. And by the way, that's essentially how this thing works. It's giving strength to others, building other people up. And through that process, there's some ass whippings, and there's some, there's a ton of them.
Yeah.
And by the way, I don't think that ever stops. Like, life was going to come kick your butt again. However, what happens is, and I don't know if we talked about this, I think I just shared this yesterday. It's something I learned a while back. I forget who said it, but it's really about the size of the problem reflects the size of the person. So the bigger the problem, the smaller the person, which means what you're talking about, not loving yourself, not having a level of introspection, not building yourself up, having a sense of worthiness, some fundamental stuff. Like, so you're growing.
Yeah.
And then the same problem comes along, maybe plus or minus a couple degrees vertically. And all of a sudden the problem doesn't seem so big, because guess what?
Yeah.
You've grown. Now it's like, oh, that's nothing. That's a piece of cake. I got this.
Yeah.
Right? You just keep growing, you keep growing. And next thing you know, there's no problem's too challenging to fix.
Yeah.
Right. And it's a neat little model of how to look at it. So
yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Well, listen, superstar, we're about the hour mark right here. I didn't want to keep you all night. And I although I could keep you all night. I do have one last question that I usually ask, which is, what does it mean to you right here? The obviously the big brand name, the name of the show. What does Always on the Grow mean to you?
It
and how you
means
see it.
never stop, never stop. Always, there's always, you don't know it all and you never will. And, whether you think you know something about this topic here, like, have you thought about a different perspective from it? Like, that's my big thing these days, is like finding a different perspective of it. Like, I may know a lot about this topic, but I don't know what this person thinks of this topic and how their views, like, how does it come across to them? Like, that's where I'm really interested a lot these days. But never stop growing. Like, never. I'm always reading books to better myself, or reading books like yours to see how other people have bettered themselves. Be like, okay, well, I guess I got to do this now, or, kudos to that person for doing that. And I don't know, that's just, I'll never stop growing. Never.
Yeah.
So,
I just laughed out loud because I just remembered that moment when I walked up to you and your friend, and I think you had a little resistance, and I said, how can I get you to evaluate what I'm talking to you about with my book the same way that you look at and think of Brene Brown? You're like, well, you have to be Brene Brown, right? Do you remember that? And I was like, shit, I don't think I can overcome that one.
yeah, that's a tall task.
Yeah. But what's so neat about that is that you never would have imagined that little simple stranger encounter then became a book, and then you're going home, and now we're here having this experience, and you're getting to share your story. I mean, it is of epic proportions that these things can happen like that. And I just am wholly blessed and thankful that you agreed to want to come on here and share and really reveal sort of your journey and share your story. I think it has been very, very opening, and certainly to the mind, I'm sure people are going to be like, wow, that was awesome. Good for her. Super proud of you. At least I'm talking to you directly right now, Marsha. You've done a phenomenal job. I really mean that. This is something that I take seriously, and I believe in people and what they're creating and who they are, and like you said, calling them up to a new standard, a higher standard. So with that being said, that's all I've got today. I'm going to say one last thing for those that are listening on the podcast on Apple, Spotify, or Stitcher. Make sure you guys head over to the Always on the Grow YouTube. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. It is simply Always on the Grow, because we are showing the videos so you can see it in real time. You can see Marsha's wonderful face, that big charming smile, and that personality got over there in the Great Lakes of Michigan. And you can see
the Great Lakes area, right?
The greater Great Lakes. That's right. I almost like double take on the text. I was like, oh, that is the greater Great Lakes. Okay, got it. Okay, yeah, that's right. So, do you have anything that you like people can come see or promote, or locally? I mean, is that sort of your dig, or you have a chance to shout yourself out here for a little bit? Whatever you want.
I don't. Next year I'll be starting in January. I've decided that on Mondays I'm doing my emotion code stuff and my body code stuff. I'm going to focus more on the energy work of things. So stuff will be coming out with me marketing myself for all of that. But as far as like anything else, like I don't like.
That's all right.
I really don't market at all.
That's good. Hey, listen, that was not to put you any more in the spotlight. That is simply, hey, did you have something? I don't know if you cared about your dog Susie, and your dog Susie had a Instagram that you wanted to promote. I say, great, put it on there. I don't care. Because that's just having some fun there. So.
Thank you.
You've been amazing. Thank you for taking the time tonight. I know we're going to do a good job, and you certainly did. So
thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me, and
of course,
and allowing this to happen. So thank you.
You got it. Until next time.
All right,
everybody. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.